Let's preview. And today we're looking at Liverpool versus Arsenal. And Liverpool versus Arsenal is going to be a ridiculous game. Both teams coming off different games that we've just had. Now, if we look just at the Premier League, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, we beat them 1-0. Arsenal went to Stoke and they came away with a 1-0 loss. And it didn't look too great for them. Now, obviously, they will have some, they'll have some different players in there. And we'll get into all of that sort of business. But this is an important game just in general because I think after Arsenal, on a Liverpool perspective, and for Arsenal as well, but I'm focusing on Liverpool. For Liverpool because, I think we've got Man City away as well before the international break. I think that's right. I'm not sure. And this is just going to be such an important game. Always is whenever we go up against Arsenal because they do have very good attacking players. They're kind of like us in a way. They do have very good attacking players, and you can't ignore the fact of them getting Lacazette in, who is a natural finisher and will get them quite a few goals. It's debatable about the offside about Stoke, but we're not talking about that anyway because it's not really my place to, because they're not my team, and I'm not really bothered about that, to be honest with you. I'm more concerned with what are we doing? What are we doing right now? And I think the way that Liverpool are playing against Crystal Palace, it wasn't the best, but we still got the job done. We were solid at the back. We kept Crystal Palace out, which was key, keeping someone out like Benteke and that, and the other attacking players that they had. They were missing Zaha that day as well. But we were okay going forward. We were creating chances. We were doing okay. We'd rested some players as well ahead of the Champions League playoff game that we had against Hoffenheim. And let's talk about that Hoffenheim game as well. The Hoffenheim game was so important because it linked our play in a way that we haven't seen for a long time. The people harking back to 2013-14 saying if you put that game in that season, it wouldn't have looked out of place. It really wouldn't have. That first half anyway was testament to what we can do when we are at our best. Yes, we did concede goals, and it finished 4-2 on the night, 6-3 on aggregate. It's a 9-goal thriller over 2 legs, but it was ridiculous just how attacking and potent we can be. If you leave yourself exposed at the back and you don't have the right players in that position or the players that can thrive in the system that you play in, it's not going to go well for you. I can just tell you that right now. When you've got Mane, who is man of the moment and looks like our next key player. In fact, he's not even our next key player. He is our key player right now. You got Salah not far behind him. Firmino is doing brilliantly up in the striker's role, and he's doing well for so many different reasons, like the way he holds up the ball, the way he uses the ball, the way he drop back into midfield a little bit and help out. He just wants to be involved. He works so damn hard to make sure that Mane and Salah have absolute quality to feed off when they go up front. And his passing vision as well, Firmino, is absolutely ridiculous. And you could see that for the very first goal that Mane scored, that Emre Can scored against Hoffenheim. Speaking of Emre Can, he needs to be in this game because he had a blinding game. And when he gets on form and he gets on a roll, he's almost unplayable in the midfield, alongside Henderson and Wijnaldum, who Wijnaldum finally broke out of his shell against Hoffenheim, and it was absolutely brilliant to see. Henderson had a very good game as well. He's been having some average games of recent times, and it was kind of worrying. Was he going to get replaced by Milner in the midfield? Well, maybe after that performance against Hoffenheim, Henderson will stay there for a while, and we'll have our captain in the midfield. Now, basically, what I'm going to go through is our starting 11. And our starting 11 is pretty much one that I predicted that we would have. I think I was predicting this one against Hoffenheim, and this is the one that I do want to see. The only changes to it, again, is Lovren and Moreno being taken out of the team. Now, Moreno didn't do a great deal wrong against Hoffenheim, but for me, he just finds himself far too busy with being up the other end of the pitch, and sometimes it can go all right, and he can do well, and he can get some good balls into the box, and he's dangerous. He's dangerous. But if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that you're using that same pace that he has. And he has a great deal of pace and trickery as well. You need to be using that pace to get back. And if you're not getting back quick enough, you're going to leave us exposed. And he did it quite a few times, to be fair. Him and Lovren made some key mistakes against Hoffenheim that could have been more costly than they were. They were costly in some respects. That's where they got their first goal when it went to 3-1. Lovren and Moreno, in my opinion. People singled out Lovren, and I would normally, but I think Moreno was responsible for that as well. They left themselves far too exposed, and they left gaps. And that's what I'm concerned about. Klavan doesn't necessarily get stuck up the pitch too much anyway. Robertson, he does get up the pitch, but he seems to know not to stay in there and get too excited about being up front, and he comes back, and he knows how to drop in there. That's what I want to see. I want to see Robertson and Klavan in the back four alongside Matip and Alexander-Arnold if he's available. Now, there's talk that he might not be, and it'll have to be Joe Gomez, and that's not too much of a problem. I would prefer Alexander-Arnold right now because he's in very good form, but he did seem to have murmurings of an injury on Wednesday night, and that's why he had to go off. Joe Gomez could come in. No word of Nathaniel Klein yet, so we don't know what's happening there. Mignolet will most likely retain his place in goal. He's quite commanding at the moment, and he's doing well. The midfield, Chan, Henderson, Wijnaldum, I expect that to stay exactly the same unless there's going to be some rotation after Wednesday. But I think there should be enough recovery time with it taking place on a Sunday. We should be absolutely fine. Mane, Firmino and Salah, I expect that to be up front. They worked so hard on Wednesday. Unless there's going to be some rotation, I expect them to start on against Arsenal as well. We'll still have quite a strong bench. You'd still, Solanke, Origi, if he can get on the bench this time. He didn't against Hoffenheim. Sturridge, Milner, Karius, Grujic, Lovren. Look, there's different options all over the pitch now that we've got, especially in the striking options as well. And that could prove to be a bit of a difference maker if we're struggling to break down their defence, because, they will have some players back, and I'm going to come on to those in just a second. We could change things up, bring in like a target man like Solanke, who is so agile and flexible as a striker. He could be really good. Origi could get a shout, could come back into the team. Sturridge has always got some trickery, and he's still got some quality about him as well. I've got no issues with our team here, but what are your thoughts about this team? Is this the team that you would like to see start against Arsenal? And if so, how will we do against Arsenal? Now we move on to Arsenal, and Arsenal, as I said, will have some players coming back into the fold. And this is just a predicted 11 from goal.com that I managed to look up online. And you see straight away Alexis Sanchez. Now, if Sanchez does come back into the starting 11, that will be quite dangerous for us. He's apparently been out with some abdominal issues or something like that kept him out of the first two games. But apparently, according to Arsene Wenger, he should be available for this game. So he could start, he could come on from the bench. If he comes on from the bench, I would prefer that, obviously. If he comes on from the start, he will be a danger to our back four. And that is why I want to see the likes of Klavan and Robertson in, who have got a bit more defensive intelligence about them, and they won't get stuck up the pitch and leave holes. Because you leave holes for someone like Sanchez, who will also have Lacazette in front of him. They've both got pace, they're both tricky players, and they can both finish. It's very dangerous to leave gaps for these guys, and we cannot afford to do that. You could have Ozil pulling the strings, depends what Ozil turns up. What you'll see as well in the centre-back position is that Koscielny is due to come back into the team. So Koscielny could come back in there, which would mean you'd get Kolasinac, sorry, I said that completely wrong. Kolasinac, you'd see him go back to left wing-back instead of being a centre-back. So you'd have Koscielny, Mustafi is expected to start, who's been a bit shaky of recent. That could be an area that we could try and expose. If he's going to be on that side if he's going to be on the right side of the centre-back, that means he's going to be up against Sadio Mane, which could be a good one for us. Bellerin as well is going to have to take on Sadio Mane. It depends how we line up as well, but I expect us to start just as I predicted before. So yeah, that could be a dangerous one. Doesn't look like they've got a space for Oxlade-Chamberlain amongst all these rumours that he's going to be signing for Chelsea. Who knows? I'm not breaking any news here. It's not happening, but I don't know. So you'd see Bellerin being the right wing back, Kolasinac being the left wing back, Monreal being a left back will still be in the centre back position, which again, it's an iffy one because that's where it was Monreal that got turned, that led to Hesse's goal for Stoke last week. So you'd see that could still be an exposing danger right there. You've got Petr Cech in goal, who can be good, can still be, is his age getting to him? He's not the goalkeeper that he was, and I don't know. You hear a lot about Arsenal fans complaining that is he too old, can he still get down for the shots and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, he's the most high profile goalkeeper that they've got. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. Is it a good thing to have Cech in there? Probably because he's the most experienced, but again, it depends more about what's in front of him with Koscielny back in there. Mustafi, if he can have a good game, hopefully he doesn't, and Monreal being a left back traditionally. You've got Xhaka and Ramsey, who've so far been okay, but I think Ramsey's been the better. Arsenal fans are singing the praises of Ramsey more than they are Xhaka at the moment, and they're kind of complaining about Xhaka being in the midfield. Now, the switch that I would do there, if I'm not happy with Xhaka and the way he's playing, I'd put Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield, because in that centre mid position, I know it looks more like it's a CDM sort of position in that one, but you could still get away with it a little bit because you've got work rate and a bit of power with Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he's got pace. He's a good player, and he works hard when he plays, generally. So it's better than sticking him out on the left-hand side or something like that. Play him in the midfield where he seems comfortable playing, and he did quite a good few games last season at centre mid for Arsenal, and he was all right. It wasn't too bad, and people were actually wanting to see him there more, but Granit Xhaka seems to be immovable from the team, kind of like Ozil can be when he doesn't play well and he kind of goes missing. But that's the only change that I would make. If I was looking at it from an Arsenal fan's perspective, I would bring Oxlade-Chamberlain into that team. I haven't heard any other Arsenal predictions, like fans or anything like that. That's just my own perspective. That front line, though, if Ozil, Sanchez and Lacazette are on form, it's going to be dangerous. What I expect from this game is goals. I expect goals for two teams that aren't very good defensively, to be honest. Like, we have looked a bit more solid against Crystal Palace. Yes, we did. If we go with the same lineup that we had against Hoffenheim, and we do have Lovren in there, I expect Arsenal to score a couple of goals. But I hope that if we go with the lineup that I've put together today, I still think that we might concede. And I think that we'd maybe, with Sanchez coming back and Lacazette maybe linking up as well, I think it's only going to be a little bit dangerous for us there. But I think with this being at Anfield, and this, Anfield will still probably be buzzing, getting into the Champions League and getting into the groups and stuff like that as well. I think Anfield will still be buzzing and will create a hell of an atmosphere, and I think it will make it difficult for Arsenal. I think that Liverpool will come out with the victory in this one, and I think that Mane and Firmino are going to be at the forefront of it, to be honest with you. I think that we will win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Liverpool. Yes, it's a bold prediction against an Arsenal team that will be getting Sanchez back, but it doesn't paper over the cracks of the fact that, yes, they will have their star player back in the team. Regardless of whether he starts in the 11 or he's on the bench, he will be back and it will bolster them. It doesn't take away from the fact that they will still be shaky in other areas of the pitch that they've already displayed this season, and we should be able to take advantage of that. Whether we will, and whether we can put in the type of performance that we did against Hoffenheim, which if we do, we should be able to do quite well in this game and get that 3-1 predicted goal score line from me. We should be able to get that, and we should do quite well, and hopefully that will put us in some good stead. But I think it's going to be it could be a difficult game. It depends again entirely on what Arsenal turns up. If Sanchez is in the starting lineup or if he's going to be on the bench. If he's on the bench, that's better for us. It is better for us, to be honest. Lacazette will always be a constant danger, getting in and behind our defence. But if we start the right players in defence, I believe that Liverpool can overcome this and we can do it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, whether you're an Arsenal fan or a Liverpool fan. Let me know what you think. I hope I've talked about it in a way that's like, I'm not too biased towards Liverpool, even though I am a massive Liverpool fan. They are my favourite club and they are my one club. But I like to try and, approach these videos with quite a non-biased mindset if I can, and hopefully that comes across in the videos, and you can get your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll interact a little bit with you guys as well. Just get some thoughts in there. Let me know what you think. Predictions, predicted 11s, goal scorers, anything like that. Get them in the comments below. That'd be absolutely awesome if you could. Like the video, share it around if you can. Get those comments in. Thank you ever so much for watching. As always, subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you later.